is I'd like to start with taking you on a little journey. And hopefully those of you who feel that you are a light worker or an indigo, now I would like to precursor this by saying that indigo, rainbow, crystal are all forms of light workers, including, I guess you can call, for lack of a better term, magical folk, whether you want to call them pagans or magicians or whatnot, that have had the calling and are living the experience. And we'll get into a little bit about the difference of living the experience versus the cultural phenomenon and the fad. And there is a big difference between living it and using it as a fashion statement, which unfortunately is a big part of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you, all of you that are listening and who feel that you have been here or are incarnated here at this time for a reason, to kind of remember with me, and remember with me where we were before we incarnated. Remember that we were one with Source. We were one with the light. We were one with universe, beyond duality, beyond ideas, beyond concepts, beyond any matrix that we could create, because there was nothing. It was the void. The void is the everything. And as we were in this void and within this everything, we felt a nudging. We felt an inkling, a calling to come to this planet. We felt not only a desire, but a very strong impulse to come to this planet at this time. And when we left this place, that is really not a place, but this infinite void of the everything, the non-dual everything, and we incarnated upon this planet, we had already made choices of where we were going to incarnate, in what type of body we were going to incarnate, what race we were going to be, what sex we were going to be, what economic structure we were going to be brought up in, all to aid us in our light working and the unfoldment of us as a light worker. And as we began to understand our world around us, now remember, we are still connected to that source. We are still connected to the memories of the all, the everything, the non-dualistic void. But we began, as we were infants, to begin to understand and learn to use our brain, learn to use our minds, our eyes, our senses, our touch. And we also were being bombarded by information from the environment around us, information that was literally fed to us within our food, within the TV shows that we may have been watching, or as we were probably placed in front of a television, the radio shows, whatever media was training us to become, which is really not what we are, but to fit in with society, to be a positive or to be an active member of the society of which you were born in, to be an active participant within our families, in our communities. And as we learned these things, and as we began to grab I don't want to say the word master of these things, but perhaps an understanding on how to utilize the education that we were being taught, the information that the media was giving us and our families, we began to split a little bit as the ego began to take hold. And many of us, from the very, very beginning, felt a discomfort of being on this planet. And I personally like to call it the stranger in a strange land syndrome. And as we are beginning to fully conceptualize, once our brains began to develop and we had the ability to conceptualize these ideas, these particular, for lack of a better term, these frames of thinking, of being, of living, of acting, we knew within us that it wasn't for us. We knew this. We found that we felt that higher calling, even though we may have forgotten where we came from or what the greater picture was of our incarnation or the reason behind our incarnation. Many of us did forget. And we still had that sense in our stomach. We still had that dislike for authority, dislike for being told how to think, how to act, how to dress, how to appear in order to fit in. We usually were not a part of any bigoted actions or events. I think it's fair to say that many of us did not agree with the way our families brought us up. If you are a certain religion, perhaps, maybe your family didn't want you to associate with others of a different religion. If you are of one race, maybe perhaps your family didn't want you to associate with members of another race. But we knew instinctively that this was not who we were, and this was not something that we wanted to be akin to, nothing that we wanted to perpetuate within our own lives.